definitely feeling stronger physically, right? And then I think with that comes confidence.
Yeah.
And they thought about that, and he said, that's your mind and your body.
Yeah.
You got one.
Right.
Invest into it. So.
All right, cool. Boom. There's our thing. I've got the pleasure of sitting here with Mike Boeder, COO of Chorus Community Health. I don't know, located here in Wisconsin. You work here in Wisconsin. Is that a national consideration, or are you guys regional?
We are state. We are proudly rooted in Wisconsin, love Wisconsin, want to be here and serve Wisconsin. So we are a health plan. We're a part of the Children's Hospital and Health System.
Yeah.
And we serve about 175,000 individuals in our state in a variety of different products. And mainly in southeastern Wisconsin, about 70% of our membership is there, so deeply rooted in the city, but are looking to expand really throughout the rest of the state.
Awesome. So tell me, so probably somebody sitting on the board at Children's is how you got here, but tell me how'd you track us down? Well, it was as simple as that.
Yeah, well, that is exactly it. I have to give a shout out to Matt Titilio.
Yep.
Matt is now one of my training partners. So Matt is a board member at Children's Hospital and Health System. He's also a friend of mine. He lives in our neighborhood. Great guy. He's a very persuasive guy. And he's been bugging me for a long time to come down here and check out this guy named Pete. Picks me up and get working out. And then I was further reinforced. Our CFO, Mark Perdue, also works out with Matt. And so those two together finally influenced me to come on down and check it out. So here I am.
Here you are. So, well, tell me this. That kind of leads me to your kids are on the verge of adulting-ish.
22 and 19, so
yeah,
they better be more than on the verge.
They better be more on the verge. I couldn't remember how old they were,
Yeah.
so they're right there. So why do you think it took a nudge from Matt to get you re-engaged in health and strength training specifically?
Well, I think it was a combination of, Matt and Mark, for example, we're all of a certain age, have a lot in common that way. And for me, I've been a college athlete, high school athlete, always working out, very much into team sports. Athletics, big part of my life, and really did that throughout all the way up until my mid-40s, traveling around the country, different things, and really enjoyed that. Had always an incentive to stay strong, stay healthy, or continue, or at least try to. Injuries happen, sins of our past, if you will, football, basketball, all of that, some pretty serious stuff. And work combined and age just had a lack of motivation. And I don't necessarily consider myself a person that struggles with motivation, pretty self-motivated, but it was getting stale, just trying to do things in my basement or going to different places. And I really enjoy the atmosphere down here. It's private, it's serious, but fun. The vibe is great. And you get the attention that you need, I think is really helpful for someone in my situation, my age. And I get a little bit of a team mentality with, my two colleagues. So it's been a good fit.
Yeah. And I'm kind of putting words in your mouth, but what I hear sometimes, maybe from you and maybe from others as well, that you kind of hit this wall where opportunity becomes obligation, and then you mix in family and things like that, and there's almost this sense of overwhelm that work can just take over.
Oh, for sure.
And you forget about yourself in that process. And you're motivated. You were motivated when you weren't training consistently.
Yeah.
But that overwhelm can just cause you to kind of throw your hands up in the air and go, man, how did I get here? And then 5 years goes by or whatever.
Yeah, it's really easy to rationalize anything in life, if you think about it. And part of that for me was just an acknowledgement that, one, I love what I do. I'm really engaged into our work, my work. Very fortunate, and sometimes have a hard time knowing when to stop. And this little thing called the pandemic hit, and a lot of us then were thrust into scenarios that I like to call living from work.
Yeah.
And the barriers, or I should say the boundaries, just I didn't do a very good job with that, and still don't. And part of it is because I like it.
Yeah.
I like working. I love working. And I'm also deeply committed to our family, so I would be involved and still am with coaching and things like that. So I'm very community-based. So at the end of the day, you run out of time. And so it became really easy to rationalize and say, well, I'm doing all these other things. I'm working very hard in all these other areas. I don't have time for this, or frankly, I'm too tired. And, I used to be a person that was easily would work out after 9 p.m., no problem. I'm staring down 53 in a few months. It's just not as easy to do, which is why I'm here now at 6 a.m.
And it disrupts your sleep patterns too. You work out that late and you can't get down and all that. Now, this next question is absolutely a loaded question, so take it for what it's worth. But so you're allocating minimally a couple hours a week getting here and training. Are you still getting your job done?
Yeah, of course I am. I know.
So it hasn't.
Well, let's just put it this way. First of all, I'll let my boss respond to that. I'd like to, and my teammates I work with, my staff. So I think so from what I hear, and yet I would say we're never really done. Right. I mean, I could work, and all of us are lucky. We're into something we really love. We can just keep going and going and going. And the reality is it's not any different. If anything, I feel a lot better because there's nothing better than knowing when that 6 a.m. workout is done that I'm done for the day for that. I fully struggled with the concept, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be down here at 6 a.m. downtown. And it's a non-issue. It's been a perfect fit because it would be harder logistically, more than what I do. But I like to come down here on the weekends, as you know.
Right.
So we try to get that 3 times a week. And still do some other things, around the house with my wife, walking and doing some other workouts, whatever. But it's much more complementary to what the core is here. So this has provided that foundation.
Yeah. So the additional effort out of your schedule, limited schedule, work, family, and all that, you're still getting the job done.
For sure.
I mean, it's this lie we believe as professionals that you lose that time. The reality is you probably tightened a few other things up to make it happen, and it's getting done. And you're prioritizing yourself, which makes you is a better foundation for being a better partner, better father, better COO, and all those things. One of our what we believe, kind of our tagline, is we build leaders in order to restore, enhance, and elevate communities. And certainly the calling on you of providing, I'll just be really general, just providing healthcare options and opportunities for people. It's a huge calling. It's an important job, but it's still not more important than you taking care of yourself.
Sometimes it feels debatable, but I understand, and I know what you're saying, and I agree. Of course I agree. And it just forces a more, a balance that at times can be, you need an outside help or some influence to remind you that in order for you to be at your best, these are some of the things that you need to commit the time to.
Yeah.
And you become more efficient, which is what you were driving at.
Right.
And that's absolutely what's happening.
Yeah, you bring the motivation. We bring the accountability.
Yeah.
Matt brings the accountability.
Yes,
Mark brings the accountability. I mean, if you don't show up, those guys will.
Matt brings a lot of bourbon too. Not here, but
not here. We wouldn't be opposed.
But another reason why we love him.
But the accountability, and then you combine that with expert instruction, a culture, an atmosphere that is inviting and enjoyable and energetic. It's a win. What's improved in your personal and professional life via training with us? What have you noticed?
Well, I mean, so you mentioned healthcare, so this is my field and have spent 30 years in it, and there's tremendous correlation to physical and mental health and how one feels about each other. And further, when we think about health and mitigating disease and or challenges in life, our behaviors are a huge part of that. And having a structured workout routine is a healthy behavior.
Yeah.
And I know from actuarial evidence and healthcare utilization that those that do that have a better chance of staying out of the hospital and or being sick and being more productive. And you can define that all sorts of different ways, but productivity is, family and work productivity. You're showing up and you're being effective at whatever your role is. So that's definitely, I think I've just learned that for sure I feel more organized because it forces, doing a 6 a.m. workout, you have to sleep better. You have to be prepared that evening. Maybe I don't stay up till 11 doing emails that next night or that previous night. So that's helped. And I mentioned sleeping. I'm definitely sleeping better. This is always a goal when you get in your 50s and more, I think it is. Just don't sleep like you used to. So that's helped. And definitely feeling stronger physically, right? And then I think with that comes confidence. Yeah. And that translates whether you're at work or not at work. So I'm curious. I'll be getting my physical soon. Check out some of the blood levels, things like that. So I'm optimistic. I have high cholesterol in my family, so these are all things that I pay attention to very closely as well.
Yeah. Now, you specifically participated as an athlete in team sports.
I did.
Primarily for a huge chunk of your life. But even folks that have never stepped on a basketball court or a field or a pitch or anything like that, there is an inner athlete within all of us. And how good does it feel? Again, another leading question here, but how good does it feel to be calling out that inner athlete again? You're getting after it.
Yeah, I like to play golf. I'm not very good at that, but I was better at many other sports. I picked one I'm not very good at, but I had a lot of injuries over the last 7 years, back surgeries, shoulder surgeries, elbow surgeries. Prior to that, I didn't have really anything happen to me and played very, very hard for a long time, multiple sports. And so I got, a bit gun shy or a little bit concerned, like, I better not do that, or I better not do that. And I didn't move quite as much as I probably should have. And then that just creates stiffness. And so I'm breaking out of that concrete, I think is what I told you. And that's happening. And you do that through movement, you do that through working around some of your limitations, which is one of the benefits here. That kind of tailored care, I guess you would say. To me, that's an investment, that's certainly been worthwhile, and hadn't done that previously. And it's a big, that's a huge commitment. And it is an investment that, for those that are interested in that, you need to think about that. And I would just give you an example. I saw a summary or a small video on Warren Buffett, who's probably a pretty good guy to listen to from an advice standpoint. Anyone worth $67 billion has done something right. And I'll summarize it quickly because he was talking to a bunch of high school students about investing. And ultimately what he was saying is, look, what if I told you I'm going to give every one of you the car of your choice right now? It'll be outside and you can pick anything you want. And the kids went through their selections, and he said, the catch is that's going to be the only car you have the rest of your life. And they thought about that, and he said, that's your mind and your body.
Yeah.
You got one.
Right.
Invest into it. So that's how I'm looking at this.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
All right.
See ya.
Peace.